Hey, what's going on, my friends, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor, and I help people navigate through their spiritual awakening process. Today, I'm going to share with you 3 signs that you are going through what I've come to call a fear purge. Sounds scary, and it kind of is in a sense, but it's a very positive occurrence that usually happens right before you're going to step into a new level of yourself. Whether that just means your sense of self, step into a new level of confidence, contentment, self-love, self-acceptance, or oftentimes that will correlate with a new level within your life. Maybe it's like a job promotion that you were excited about, and next week you start and you're like, oh my goodness, you're very nervous. You're going through this like purge. All the emotions are coming up, and you're just experiencing this sort of temporary phase where you're feeling intensely old fears that used to kind of run your life. Now they're there and they're in your face. And what horrible timing. You got to start this thing soon, and you're feeling like you're a mess. And a lot of times when this happens, people, they get freaked out. They say, oh my goodness, what cruel timing by the universe. I finally got to this new level, and my old self, my inner child is complaining. I have all this anxiety and fear. And from this state, there's no way I'm ready for this thing I thought I was ready for. And yet you are, which is why it's happening before it begins, before it's actually necessary for you to be this new version of yourself. The fear purge is a positive vibrational cleanse, so that not only can you step into this new level of your life, but you can embody it. You can feel it. It's like it'll become your new natural state, your new natural set point. Sign number 1, usually this fear, these core fear programs, we'll call them for lack of a better term, they will manifest at the most surface level as a generalized anxiety, anxiousness, restlessness, even sometimes sleeplessness. And that's how you can kind of tell something's off. And unfortunately, in today's society, people, they will go and they'll rush to the drugstore and they'll start overdosing on melatonin or cough and cold pills and sleep medication and stuff like that. And they're like, oh, they go to the doctor to treat their anxiety. And there's a place for that. I'm not knocking that. But I'm talking to like spiritual folks who are on this awakening path. You know that's not the answer. And you know that anxiety you feel isn't just some type of physical, it's a ramification of something deeper. And this is an opportunity, if you're experiencing this, to ask yourself, where is this coming from really? I'll give you an example. In about a week from now, I'm going to be hosting and running the largest retreat I've ever done by a lot. I've done about 15 or so, 12 to 15 retreats right here in Sedona with about 25 people. And I've done some retreats with some friends of about 40 people in Costa Rica. And just recently, I was at my friend Aaron Dowdy's event with about 90 people, but it was his event. Now that this is my event, all the pressure is on me. I've never done it before. It's something I felt called to do. It was an inspiration and just a genuine passion project. In my intuition, I know it's going to be good, but physically, I've just been feeling very anxious, very fearful, almost just really concerned and worried a lot. And on some level, I understand that it's all good. We're all one. The universe is blessing, but the reality is I've been feeling pretty freaking anxious to the point where I've not even been sleeping well. Like waking up at 2 or 3 in the morning, wide awake. 4 hours into my sleep, not enough sleep. I have kids, I got to be rested, man, for my life. Number 2, if you look deeper, if you have that willingness to really own your anxiety and your own restlessness and not blame it on him or her or what's going on in your life, those are all just reflections of your energy state, not the other way around, then you can discover the deeper root reason. And usually it involves some base level of just feeling out of control, feeling unsafe, feeling incapable, feeling unworthy, feeling like I'm not enough for what's coming. I'm not enough for this situation. And because this is happening in a conscious way, a lot of people, they let this anxiety create all these different tangent, distracting behaviors that don't ever really solve the problem. But if this is happening to you, as hard as it can be to sit with your anxiety and own it and inquire about it, if you do that, you'll get to say, oh my goodness. There can be this series of epiphanies and insights of, oh my goodness, I can see where this comes from. Usually it's early childhood. And not only can you see where it comes from, but you can also see through it. And that leads me to sign number 3. You are awake, you are aware, you are catching yourself in these sort of fear programs and realizing this is not me. This is like something I used to do when I was a little kid because I didn't really know any better. It was maybe a coping mechanism I just created at like 3 years old from a complete lack of understanding of how the world works. And I can now see I've still, in my adult body, been operating that way unconsciously until now. Growing up, I've felt a lot of the times anxious and out of control. My parents, and God bless them, they love me so much, but they love me to the point where they kind of overparented me. And they, in a sense, unknowingly nurtured an insecurity. They didn't like to see me stressed, so they would always be there for me. But there came a time when I was like 6, 7 years old that I had to get on the school bus and go to school. And because I was never allowed to fall, never allowed to really experience this never given the opportunity to come into my own power, that day of getting on the school bus was the hardest thing, one of the hardest things I've ever done. I just felt like I was just not prepared for this. I was just really not ready for the intensity, especially as an empathic kid, to be in school with all these new people. And from that sort of set the tone for my life. And I always just felt unprepared, felt unready, even though I eventually thrived in school. I got okay grades eventually sometimes in my career. I made some great friends. Yeah, there was ups and downs. I had my fair share of problems and challenges in school, but by the end I had a huge group of friends. I was happy, relatively happy, content. And I went on, I'm almost 30, I'm 38 years old now, and I've become quite comfortable in many areas of my life. I've become quite good at the things I do, like speaking and coaching and working with people. It's something I've been doing for a while. I'm good at it. I like it. But there's that old part of me, that old memory, that old program that says, oh, new things bad, new things scary. You aren't ready, Victor. And it's like, that's just a nervous system, unconscious reaction to anything that reminds me of when I had to get on that freaking school bus. This is something I've been coming to recently. And it's like, I'm able to see it now. Oh my goodness. It's almost like frustrating. You want to kick yourself when you say, oh my God, I've been letting that's been running my life to this intensity. How could I have not seen it? So my point is, this fear purge is amazing. The anxiety, all that, the sleeplessness, good. They're clues to a deeper awareness, to a deeper revelation that will set you free finally from some of those fear chains that have bound you and prevented you from being who you could be in this life, from doing the things you're actually capable of doing, from thriving in the way that you're actually able to do. Those chains are breaking. And I have no doubt in my mind, because I've gone through this many times, that when it comes time for that retreat, I'm going to be a new person, a new vibrational Victor, more free than ever before of his fear chains, able to serve, able to enjoy, able to embody this new essence of myself. I can feel it. I can feel it now. But if you would have asked me, hey Vic, how you feeling? 2 days ago, I was quite stressed, quite anxious, quite afraid. But I've allowed it to become a conscious experience, and therefore a very transformative one, and you can too. And that's the whole aim of this video, to help you take advantage of your own fear purges. Okay, my friends, I'm out of here. Have an amazing day. Thank you. Much love.